Hey everybody, welcome back! Welcome back to Fridays with Dannphan. We're at number 110. My goodness, we have done a bunch of these streams over the years, and I've only missed some Fridays. Okay, maybe a lot of Fridays. Now that I put that in perspective, for doing these streams, or trying to do these streams weekly for a couple years now, we've missed a lot of Fridays. But, hey, we didn't just last one recently, and that's because I went to BasedCon with Adam, and that was quite an experience. Very different from conventions that we had been going to previously. But I would definitely like to talk about it a little bit with you guys today. Obviously, the main topic to mention for this stream is the fact that we're closing out the Sonic City Witch Kickstarter. Not that pre-orders won't be available anymore, but they'll only be available directly on the website after this. And even that, you'll only have a window of a chance to get the pre-orders. But looking at the Kickstarter right now, not too shabby for a first-time Kickstarter person. We got almost 2,000 up there. Goal of 1,000 just to get on Kickstarter. Just a, lowballing goal, as we do. And 16 more hours left until this closes out. So if you wanted to wait and back on Kickstarter, it's up there. There is a link in the description. You can go do that, all up to you. Of course, you can also back or pre-order directly on the website. As you can see here, we have a pre-order bonus on the website for the Hazel pinup. And yeah, this is just some of the art. We also have other stuff on the website. Just keep in mind that whatever you do a pre-order, that means your entire shipment counted as a pre-order and will be delivered at the same time. I learned that the hard way when I used to pre-order stuff on Right Stuff, and now it's the Crunchyroll store because Right Stuff is not there anymore, I don't think. Yeah, I think they took down the whole site. So yeah, whenever you pre-order something on a website, it counts as one shipment, so it all arrives at the same time, and that's the same case for my website. It counts it all as a pre-order. So yeah, that's the big news for now. And soon coming up on the 18th, we have a brand new comic also up on going up on the website. That is Searchers by Mark Moore. It's going to be a sci-fi fantasy about dimensions clashing together and fighting all kinds of otherworldly creatures. And that will be up on the 18th. Digital will be up, and pre-orders for the physical will also be up. So if you are interested in that, that is another thing that's coming soon. We got a lot coming to Burning Star Comics, and I'm pretty happy with how we've been doing so far. We got like 12 titles. We have merch, original art, we have submissions open. It's looking good so far. All things considered. I do think, I was listening to this other guy's video giving his own take on the topic about when you're starting up a comic business, or what do they call those subscription magazines? They call them mangazines. He was saying the most important thing is quantity over quality. And he was saying you need 100 titles right off the bat when you're first starting off. You need to make that investment, otherwise you're never going to make it. I don't really think that's true. Obviously. I think quality matters a lot more than quantity in the long run. I could have 100 titles on my website right now if I really wanted to dig for them. But unless at least a few of those are big hitters, like unless at least 1 or 2 of those are doing really, really well to make up for all the other ones that aren't doing well, it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna really matter. And at the end of the day, you need like more successes rather than just more in general. But you know. Yeah, Crunchyroll buys Right Stuff, then shuts it down and expands their own store. Yep, yeah. I have gotten stuff from the Crunchyroll store, I will admit that. Mostly just because all of the stuff from Right Stuff went up on the Crunchyroll store, so a lot of my orders or pre-orders just got transferred there. But, you know. Go in store and buy like manga or figures in store. It's just that a lot of stores don't have the figures that I'm looking for. I look for very specific stuff, of course. I'm a little bit weird. Or not weird. I just have I just have stuff that I want and I don't want to settle for anything less. So you know what? If I'm not weird, everybody else is weird who like settles for Funko Pops. Let's see. I know very little about comics, but I have to say that the people on this channel are always very nice, and none of you walk around with a stick up the bum. Yeah, a lot of cool people, especially in the chat for these streams. Absolutely love doing these streams because of that. If everybody was just like absolute doomer, pain in the ass in the chat, I'd probably never do these weekly streams. It's because it's so laid back and genuinely entertaining that these are good streams. Like, I do say very often, this is the best content on the channel. Mostly, it is my favorite content to do on the channel. It's nice just to be able to talk about whatever and commune with the chat. I don't read comments as much as I used to. I used to read a lot more comments, but after a while, the comments section just became such a black pill for me, and just such a bummer to look at. But chat during the live streams, always A+. A+ chat, the best. Thank you, Mark. I just ordered from your web, and that was the most seamless process. Google Pay integration, very nice, can't wait. Oh yeah. I was actually curious about other people who go to conventions. What do you usually pay with if they can't and you don't have any cash? There's usually always ATMs at conventions, but we don't take card because our card reader doesn't work. So our go-to is usually I can link them to my PayPal, or Adam can give them a QR code for his Venmo. But I don't know if there's some other service that people prefer. I know that Cash App is a thing. Sometimes people pay through Ko-Fi, or is it Coffee? I mean, their like a term is buy me a coffee, right? So is it supposed to be actually pronounced coffee, or is it actually supposed to be, because it looks like it's Ko-Fi, right? But I don't know. I'm not an expert in this branding stuff. One of my best friends is a total comic geek. He's also one of the coolest people I know. He has every figurine from Hellraiser to He-Man. God damn. That sounds awesome. Yeah, doomerism gets boring after a while. TBH. I feel that. For sure. There's like a time and a place to talk about that stuff, but you can't talk about it all the time. Otherwise, that just becomes your entire life, is just talking about bad things, you know? Yeah, usually ATMs are either in the con or somewhere near it. Yeah, usually. I feel bad though, because I go in doing a lot of these conventions and I don't know where the ATM is either, so I can't really point them in the right direction, and usually once they leave to go get money, they don't come back, so I'm a terrible salesperson. I've mentioned this before, which is funny because a lot of people say that I'm really, like, charming on YouTube. I've obviously managed to get some audience on here, so I can't be that bad. But for whatever reason, in person, I'm just terrible. I get so nervous and so awkward. I need to figure out, like, what is the deep root of this problem so that I can better sell to people. Because at the end of the day, I do want it to be a career, and obviously if we're not expanding, then we're not going in the right direction. But yeah, never go the doomer route. Very true. Very true. Yeah, Dannphan with a change dispenser. Comics on sale for $5.95 to make change. Yeah, I cut out I just round up a lot of the prices whenever I'm doing the convention, because a lot of the prices on my site are doing the 99 thing. But yeah, maybe I should bring out some books that I got from BasedCon, if any of you are interested. I have a neat little tidbit about it, regarding, like, why I got these books over other books, of course. And I think it is somewhat helpful to know about if you yourself are also a writer trying to make it in life. So I do want to talk about it, even if the main topic is supposed to be Sonic City Witch Closeout, for a little bit. So, got 3 fantasy books, and these were all from the same guy who did these. I believe this is supposed to be a short story, but this is book 1 in what will be a series, which I assume is also loosely based off of the same story or same character or something. I mean, they're both called The Revenant, right? So it's probably interconnected. They both have practically the same exact cover. I can reach this conclusion. And then also the Wizard Stone. Very classic fantasy cover looking here. Reminds me of the early 2000s, definitely. Another one I got, this mostly just because I thought it was a really funny hook. It was right up my alley of goofiness. Ronald Reagan's Brilliant Bullet. Basically, this is about Ronald Reagan, of course, but here's the twist. He pilots a mech. Now we're talking. So I bought this mostly for the goofiness, but I thought maybe it'd be a fun read. So, checking it out, giving it a shot. But yes, the tidbit that I wanted to talk about for those of you who are writers out there is why I got 3 books from this guy, and instead of getting 3 books from 3 different people at the convention, you know, why did I go all in on Herman P. Hunter? Yeah? And it wasn't necessarily because he sold it to me better. I mean, he was kind of not at his table that much, or he sat, like, around his table, but, you know, he wasn't actively selling to me or anything. It was actually because the blurbs at the back of the book, they're written in such a way that it's able to get straight to the point and make me interested in what the book is actually about. And that is something, that's a unique ability, right? Some people are very good at writing the blurbs at the back of the book. Some people are okay at it, and some people are terrible. And a trend that I am noticing recently, especially recently, is that the people who are terrible at writing the back of the book blurbs are using AI to write it for them. He did not do that, obviously, but the AI written blurbs, there were a lot of people at the convention who had those. A lot of people who had the AI covers too. They don't look very good. but the blurbs are so confusing because they're written by AI. They're so confusing. And if you're not very good at writing a blurb, you might not notice that they are confusing. But there's a lot of books that I checked out at the convention that I would read the back of, and I'd have no idea what the book was about. Like, genuinely, I would be baffled. I only understood, like, the vague topics of the book, but I wouldn't know what the plot actually was because of how it was written. Because at the end of the day, the AI, the algorithm that you're, like, putting your information in to make the back of the book blurb with the AI, they're using a formula to write that book blurb, and sometimes your plot does not fit with that formula, so it doesn't make any sense. And that is unfortunate that a lot of people don't notice this when they have AI write the book blurb. You should instead take the time and energy to just get better at writing it yourself, I think. Because I didn't understand any of the AI written book blurbs. Like, any of them. I didn't buy the book because I didn't get it. I didn't understand. Now let me read the back of the book for this, because it's not even like it's super stunning or anything. It's just that I understand, and then it gets straight to the point. So I'll read the back of The Revenant and the Tomb. In a seedy tavern, two men meet. One is an old and seasoned guide who knows the way to a tomb where riches are rumored to exist. A place somewhere on a mountain called the Horn of Torgiv, in a region notorious for evil things and dark deeds. The other is a mysterious young man named Halserdrick, who seeks something other than wealth. What he seeks is something old, dark, and diabolical. Simple. Simple. I get it. Two men gonna go on a journey together. They both have different motives. One of them is a little bit shady. One of them's looking for riches, one of them is looking for something a little bit other than riches, right? It's very simple. That's all you need. It's not like the best thing ever, right? But I get it. I understand what the story is about, and that is the most important part. There you go. There's my tidbit for you. Can't speak for everybody, but there's my tidbit for you. I actually kind of regret for Reaper. I made my back of the book blurb thing more flowery than straight to the point. Very flowery instead. I was trying to do something equivalent to the a vague Dark Souls inspired intro. That's what I was attempting to do anyway. But it ends up a little bit too flowery. It also printed a little bit blurry. Thanks, Mixum. But I think maybe I would have been able to sell it better if I was as straight to the point. Honestly. It's something to consider. Of course, with comics, you have the very great advantage of being a visual thing. So for a lot of books, when you flip through them, you know, maybe you read a couple lines here and there, but it doesn't give you a big idea of what the book's going to be about. With comics, you flip through them and you can see the art, and you're like, oh, okay, I kind of get what's going to happen. I kind of get it, you know, I can trust this is going to be a cool comic, etc. So, I don't think my back of the book for Reaper sold anyone on the book so much as them flipping through it and seeing the art. Granted, you know, that's not the blurb that I use on the website. On the website, I'm a little bit more straightforward with what it's about. But yeah, I went super flowery with the printed version. Tried to make it a little bit more Dark Souls-y, but maybe that's not the best place to draw from when you're trying to sell someone on something, you know? Maybe the publisher or editor is using AI instead of the author? Maybe. But a lot of the people at this convention were self-published authors. Most of them, anyway. Using stuff like Ingram Spark, you know, where it's kind of on you, like how it all comes together. Yeah, lesson learned, right. Yeah. It's something to consider anyways, because like I was saying, primary thing when you're doing your back of the book blurb, make it understandable. I think the concept of your story should be enough to sell the story. You just gotta make sure that people understand what the concept is. So let's not worry about making it flowery in the future. Let's just get straight to the point. That's my new theory that I'm going by. Straight to the point. Let's go. Alright. We'll bring up more Sonic City Witch as we're closing out the Kickstarter real soon. We've got like 10 more pages left to do of this comic. And of course I gotta still do some of the lettering for and shading for said pages. But we're looking real close to completion here. I'm gonna be so happy to get this out to people. I don't think it'll take too much time. I think the most amount of time that's going to be eating us up is just going to be getting it to beta readers and getting their opinions on it, whatever insight they have to the whole thing. Because sometimes when you are handing off anything really, a comic or a book, to somebody else to read and give their insight on, they just vanish. I don't even know if they read it or not. They just don't get back to you on what they thought, don't really get back to you on any typos they caught or anything. They just poof away forever. And then I don't know if I need to fix anything. That's actually another good tidbit I can bring up. That's the problem of relying on, friends, family, or just like random people to read the book and tell you what they think of it, is the fact that they have no obligation to really get back to you, as opposed to when you hire someone, they have an obligation to actually give you some thoughts. Granted, maybe the person you hired just sees it as a job. Maybe he doesn't put 100% into the work and actually tells you things that you need to know. Maybe he's not good at doing editing or typo catching or whatever it is. There are benefits and positives and negatives to doing friends and family, and also hiring editors and stuff like that. But you just kind of gotta go with whatever you think is best at the end of the day. I'm hoping that we'll be able to catch anything that needs to be caught and make this real polished before we get it out to people. Oh, hey Pips. I don't think I've ever seen you on chat before. Just wanted to come in and say I've always loved how raw and homey your videos have been. Sick. Glad you're enjoying, for sure. What are your favorite non-DC and non-Marvel comics? Oh, you mean like more indie stuff, or do you mean like more manga stuff? It's funny because I still kind of think of manga as being very, very indie, even though some of them are made in-house, and it really depends on whether or not the author actually came up with the story themselves. But if we're talking manga, I can definitely say Frieren. Frieren is top dog at the moment. I do love Mob Psycho 100. I'm loving Kaiju number 8, Spy X Family. Mwah, There's a lot of really good manga out there that I can give glowing recommendations to for people who are looking for something to have a recommendation. If we're talking indie comics, I've actually read a couple recently that I was actually planning to do reviews on. I've got like a list building up, right? Let me see. What have I read so far? The last one I read was Silverwing, which is the graphic novel version of what was originally a novel series. It was also an animated series at one point, I believe. I should look into what the animated series is like, because I'm actually curious. It was very good. It was a gift to me from Steiniger, who was the artist on the graphic novel, and he did such a good job. It was pretty decent, gotta say. Let's see, what did I read before that? I read Core Draft, Andy Smith. I read Death Trap, First American Comics, or First American Manga. That was it. Yeah, I read Common America. I want to read more of Common America before actually doing a review of it. But I did. I got the first issue. I'm thinking I might gift that to one of my friends, and then get the omnibus for myself, so that I can read more of it and do that. What else? What else? I got a bunch on the shelf. Oh, I read Kindred Heavens. That's another one from Iconic Comics. There's definitely more on the shelf, but I'd have to take a look and put everything in a pile somewhere. I wanted to. Oh, I read Gatekeeper, Ray Dillon. I read the Peter Pan Volume 1, René Deleuze, right? Bunch of those I want to review. I also I've also been reading, really, a bunch of manga. Versus, I want to do a review of that sometime. If I get the chance, of course. That's a newer one from One, so... but it was pretty good from what I read. It's very different. Very different from his usual stuff. Much, I would say, darker? A little bit darker than his usual stuff, but still funny and still very, very fun, despite it being dark and having insanely dark opening. My goodness. But it's still clearly a product from One. You can tell that it has his flair on it. And then there's a bunch of stuff that I have bookmarked. I don't even know when I'm gonna get to that stuff, honestly. I was trying to bookmark a bunch more fantasy-based manga, but a lot of it, really Delicious and Dungeon and Frieren are kind of the best that fantasy manga has to offer at the moment. Oh, and I guess Berserk. Berserk is dark fantasy, though, so it's a little bit different. But if we're talking high fantasy, Delicious and Dungeon and Frieren are right now the big top players that we have in fantasy manga. And everything else is kind of... I've been, digging deep trying to look for more stuff, and not isekai, specifically out of the realm of isekai, and everything else, it feels kind of deserved that it doesn't have a big audience to it. It feels, it's okay, well, I get it, because this is not very good, Sorry, I missed that, Mark Schaefer. I volunteer as tribute. Well, beta reading if interested. You're more than welcome, my dude. I definitely need beta readers to look at Sonic City Witch, because it's had a lot of work done on it over the years, as well as, the original files being lost and having to redo a bunch of work. And then the ending actually changed for Sonic City Witch during that whole crank. I want to make sure that it's well polished and everything makes sense, and, of course, typo checking in general. Typo so valuable for these long-form comics. Man. Because the longer it is, the more likely it is that you're gonna get a bunch of typos in there that people are gonna miss, unfortunately. Dannphan, can we still back it on your website after the Kickstarter ends? Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. The pre-orders will stay up until it gets sent to the printers, basically. I'm thinking that'll be up till the end of October. So you get a whole other month to pre-order it. But yeah, after that, the pre-order bonus deal, that's gonna be, that's gonna poof away. You'll miss your chance of getting that nice, snazzy poster. But, you know. What else? I've seen for the Comic America Volume 10 campaign, they've unveiled a body fellow. Might be the first one I ever get. Yeah, I saw that too. It makes sense. They're playing it hard to the weebs. Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. Witch Hat Atelier. I've seen a little bit of that. I read it's actually one of the few manga that I've read from Free Comic Book Day, but they give you such a tiny window of what to expect from the manga. I've been meaning to check out the rest of it, and obviously there's the anime coming soon-ish, and that looks really good. It seems like the writer for Witch Hat Atelier really is into his magic system, which I hope doesn't mean that the story itself is going to be boring, because sometimes when they talk about the magic system a little bit too much, there's like less time for character building and stuff like that. But I don't think that's the case for this particular series. So I really do want to check that out too. That's probably going to be, if it's done well, if the anime is received very well, and assuming people aren't bored, I think that will probably be a top contender with Delicious in Dungeon and, of course, Freerun. I think that is very valid. Anime looks very pretty based on the trailer shots for it. The manga itself, have you seen the art for the manga? Dude, that shit's beautiful. I love the art for Witch Hat Atelier. It's the main reason why I wanted to check out more of it. I just, like, forgot about it, honestly, until like the anime was announced. I forgot about it completely, and then even afterwards I forgot about it just now. I guess it's mostly because the little small bits that I read from the Free Comic Book Day version was not was not like, it didn't do a good job at selling me on the series. But they're not those previews that they give out, whoever is deciding which pages to like put in there for a free preview, they didn't pick the right pages. Yeah, too slow of a start. It was very slow, and it just didn't do a good enough job at selling me on the characters. Just from the free preview that I got, I think. I did hear more about it from other people and what other people said about it and what they said about more of the story that I didn't get to see in the preview. That stuff sounded interesting. I would have preferred to see that stuff in the preview, but they didn't put it in there, so, you know, they did a bad job at selling it on me, but I have no doubt that it's probably pretty good. So I did want to check out more of it, but because that was my first introduction to it, it didn't give me a big lasting impression. It wasn't a good first impression because the preview was so jank. The preview of Kaiju number 8 was kind of jank too, but it was enough to sell me on it because you at least understand from the preview that Viz did there that it's about a guy who can turn into a kaiju. And that was kind of enough of a selling point for me to want to check out the whole series. I can't say the same for the Free Comic Book Day version of Witch Hat Atelier. But the art is obviously beautiful. The magic system sounds interesting. It sounds like they could do a lot with it. And the anime looks like an absolute banger. I can't wait to watch it when it comes out. I don't know when it comes out, though. I should probably look that up. Put it on my calendar or something. Atelier. Maybe it says on the wiki page. Maybe it doesn't. goddamn. So hard to find information these days. Jeez. Oh, okay, anime. The series will receive anime. It's gonna be sometime in 2025. Don't know when, but sometime next year. Yeah, it's one of those things. They're probably crunching pretty hard, so they don't want to overcommit to a date until they're close to being done. That's fair. I get it. You guys know what an atelier is, by the way? It's very, very interesting. I had Adam explain it to me. It's like basically a study, but not really a study. It's like a place to be inspired. It's just a room dedicated for that. It's apparently that's what it is. It sounds like sick, honestly. I'd love to have a really fancy looking atelier just to walk in the room and be inspired for a bit. You just put up like big windows and gorgeous art, and it's like, yes, my atelier. Yes, nice. That sounds great. Yeah. Not a fan of using AI for writing. No, me neither, honestly. Because I have not seen any good results from it. You know, people say, oh, well, it's so easy. I can put out so much this way. But it's like, but quality, quantity, you know? I care more about quality at the end of the day. Not that quantity isn't important in the long run, but quality matters a lot more. It does. It does. I mean, you know, I could throw up an example here. Burning Star Comics, it's got 12 titles on it, right? That's quantity. But I would argue Iconic Comics, with less comics on their site, way more successful because the quality of their comics is super high and they got real big hitters like Common America. That's way more important at the end of the day. I didn't want to use that example, though, because it makes me sound like I'm self-deprecating. I'm not. I'm not. I love Burning Star Comics. We're doing good. But for some reason, that's like the first thing that came to my head. My main point is, yes, how popular and how well a series does is so much more important than how many series you have. You can have a bunch of titles, and if they all fail, then it's all a waste. That's all a big wash, you know? Or even more so, that's all debt, which is like the even worse spin on it, you know? But yeah, for sure. I only see 2025 listed for the anime, yeah. Yeah, seems like they're keeping it vague. Makes sense, you know, yeah. But, as I was saying, Sonic City Witch, huh? Almost done. Feeling good, feeling good. I have a lot of ambitious goals for next year. Whew. Making me nervous just thinking about it. Obviously, we're going to finish up this Sonic City Witch. We're finishing up this year. I don't actually want to finish this next year. I did put like a release 2025 just in case something goes wrong, but I want all of the books to get to you before then. I think that would be much better. Yes. But, other than Sonic City Witch, there are 2 other comics that are coming out this year. As I mentioned before, September 18th, we're going to put up the digital of Searchers, as well as pre-orders for that comic, if you'd like to own that. That'll be fun. It's a sci-fi fantasy about a soldier who... I should have images up for this. I'm so ill-prepared. It's a sci-fi fantasy about worlds colliding. A soldier meets this girl who has this weapon, I'll say, if I want to be vague. It's a train that can go through dimensions. And they befriend one another while they're fighting off monsters. and he wants to use the train for his mission, right? So there is some collaboration there. And the last book of the year, actually, the last comic going up on Burning Star Comics is going to be Crazy Cop Yuzuki issue 2, which some of you might have been waiting on for a while now. Yes, it exists, and yes, it is coming. It's been a long time since issue 1. Maybe like, what it was, 2 years since issue 1 of Crazy Cop Yuzuki? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, let me share this, because I have this one on the website, so I can have you look at it. Yeah. It's by Cherry. As you can tell, very inspired by Panty and Stocking, both in the content as well as the art style. So that'll give you something to expect, right? The very basic hook is she's a succubus cop. Very fun for people who are looking for saucy content. You'll enjoy that for sure. For people who are not into saucy content, feel free to steer away. It's fine. Not everyone is into the same things. I get it. I get it. But yes, issue 2 is coming out at the end of the year. All of this is, of course, information available on the website. I'm scared of succubi. Yeah. You know, I posted, I didn't do it today, but I posted an art piece that was like, because I thought, man, I should post something like spooky for Friday the 13th, shouldn't I? But I didn't really have much spooky on the backlog, so I posted just an art piece that I had of a demon succubus looking lady. It was a very simple one. It wasn't anything like super awe-inspiring, but you know. I've got a couple art pieces that I've been putting on the backlog just to get in the groove of posting more art to social media. I feel like I'd be able to do it more consistently if I had some just kind of built up on a folder somewhere. It's my theory anyways. I'm not an expert at art on social media. As you can probably tell if you follow my social media, I'm not consistent with posting art, and I don't really understand the right hashtags to use. Kind of just how it is, but I want to get better. It's always nice to just recognize that you have a deficiency in some sort of skill, and then go out of your way to try to get better at it, you know? Because I think it would do good in the long run if I could build up more of an art following, especially. Even though that's not why people come in here for the YouTube videos, I also do art. So I will post that stuff soon. Soon, more often in the future. It's a little bit awkward now because obviously, you know, I'm not the artist on Sonic City Witch. I just did the writing for it, and I guess lettering and shading. But you know, I also do art. I do. I'm getting better at it, I swear. Give me a chance. So that'll be something that I'll be doing in the future. I want to actually try to do Inktober. I have always seen other people do this Inktober thing. I've never done it myself. But I am like very curious about trying it. I don't know like the details of where I get the list of, because that's how Inktober kind of works, is they give you a list of topics and then you try to do an art piece based on the topic once every single day. I can do that. It's possible. I just, you know, I don't know where to get the list, but Inktober is difficult if you're not motivated. Yeah, sure. I get it, but it's a good idea in general for artists on social media to do Inktober for a couple of reasons. For one, it gets you in the groove of drawing every day and drawing faster, which is something a lot of artists, especially new artists, struggle at. Drawing every day, you know, repetition, it does genuinely help your motor skills. It does help you draw better in general. And drawing faster is good for if you do commission work. Any kind of commission work, really. Especially comics, drawing faster is a big factor in doing comic books because they can be very time-consuming if you're not fast. And another reason to do Inktober is that posting daily, especially posting a lot of art daily, is how you can build up a following very fast. Basically, all social media is very much based on keeping the ball rolling. You gotta like keep on posting content to get noticed on social media. And if you lose that rhythm, you have to basically start all over again. So Inktober is good for that. It's good for having a reason or a motivation to be posting every day, especially posting art. There was at some point, there was like something that happened that caused controversy around Inktober. I just don't remember what it was. I think someone tried to copyright it, and that created a lot of confusion over whether or not it could still be called Inktober, which is why I think there's so many variations of the hashtag. Like there's Inktober, and then there's Drawtober, and then there's something else, some other third thing. I'm not exactly sure. I might have to do more research on it before I dedicate myself to doing Inktober, but it's something that I would like to do. Yep, something that I would like to do. I did it, but just picked my own topics. The tag is good for getting views, but a bit of prep time gets rid of the stress. Yeah, people usually are posting the topics ahead of time, like, okay, these are the topics for this year's Inktober or whatever. And then, you know, sometimes you might do 2 art pieces in a day and then just schedule one out to post on a day, especially when sometimes you're going to be away for like the weekend or something and you won't have time to do an art piece that exact day. Then it's good to draw ahead of time, for sure. I get that. Whew. Maybe ask your viewers for a list. We'll think of something. Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. I think that there's some random generator that'll just do it for you. If I wanted to use a random generator. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I feel like I could do multiple art pieces in a day without breaking my neck. And, you know, build up and just have posts scheduled at certain times. I think I have some ideas for that. Yeah, maybe. Okay, let me get the context. Jake Parker started suing artists who used that name, and that soured me and a lot of people on Inktober. Really? Started suing artists? For using a hashtag? That does sound very strange, to say the least. It's not something you want to do if you want to keep people using the hashtag, because that's going to kill it by far. I don't know. There must be some other context to it. Like maybe they were trying to sell something using the hashtag Inktober, and maybe that's something. I don't know. There's because you can't just sue someone for saying something. You have to prove that you had financial loss. That's my general understanding, anyway. So you had to like prove that you're losing some money for someone using the hashtag. But I don't know. I don't know the details. I guess I'll have to look into it. Yeah, Jake sounds gay for doing that, not gonna lie. I get it. Okay. Where's the link? Well, they are in the description. I think Gabe is posting the link too. Yes, yeah, he's posting the link. That's for the Kickstarter. There is also for the pre-orders on the website, depending on, of course, which you would prefer to go with. Mr. Parker didn't want artists using it on their self-published Inktober collections. Oh, I get it. Okay. That's the that's interesting. So, they would do Inktober and then they would collect all the art pieces into an art book that they would call Inktober pieces. Aha, all right. I get it now. Yeah, that's still shitty. He still should not have sued them. That is very petty. However, interesting. So you see, these are all issues that we come across when it comes to copywriting or patenting a certain phrase that people just generally use online. A hashtag, trying to copyright that is very icky. Very icky. Anyway, so is the preferred hashtag to use Drawtober, or is it something else? I have seen people using Drawtober, but I don't know. Maybe is there like a tier list of different types of Inktober terms to use? Like if Inktober can't use it anymore, but it will still get you views if you do use it, maybe that's like B tier, right? And then where's Drawtober lie on this tier list? Is it like A? Is that better than using Inktober? Is it worse? You won't have to worry about getting sued. Granted, I had no plans to really do a collection of the art pieces and publish them as Inktober pieces. I would probably publish them under some other name if I was ever going to do an art book. I don't really have any plans to do an art book, currently anyways. But maybe in the future, I don't know if I have that many spectacular art pieces out there yet. Maybe in the future. It's been a while since I heard of Inktober. There was some sort of scandal aeons ago, and the movement splintered and disappeared from my radar. Yeah, right. Either option is fine to use for getting the book. Oh yeah, he's right. He's talking to the... Sorry. I'm still on the topic of Inktober. I thought you were responding to that. But, yeah. Well, either way, whichever I use, I'll be attempting to do the general challenge of doing an art piece per day based on a particular topic, and maybe make them all connected to one of my comics. I've got a couple, granted. I could like shove in Ichabod in some sort of topic. I could use Horizon Quest characters based on a certain topic, or of course, everyone's favorite, It's Not Like Getting a Job Will Kill You. I sold a bunch of these at BasedCon. You can probably imagine why. People really liked it. They really liked it. Everyone, like, you know, they finish it in one sitting because it's fairly short, right? But then they come back and they're like, this is really good. You need to do a sequel. This one kid, still in high school, he finished the whole thing. He's like, I was laughing out loud, and, you know, you gotta do a sequel. I'd buy it. I'd buy all the comics for this. And I'm thinking to myself, damn it. Maybe I should have done a sequel. I'm all up for a sequel, of course. I'm not sure if I would print it, or, to be honest, I'm not even sure if the first run of It's Not Like Getting a Job Will Kill You, or It's Not Like Getting a Job Will Kill You, would, I'm not even sure if the first run made back its money. I'd have to crunch the numbers on that to even figure it out. I don't think it did, though. But it was fun. I'll give it that. The issue is just that it's you know, cheap. It's because it's so short, I can't monetize it as well as other comics that I've done. It's part of the reason why I really like doing the manga formula for future books, such as Reaper. The longer something is, the more you can justify the price on it, and Reaper was really cheap to print. And I could get it even cheaper than this. So it's just generally a good formula. Like Japan has it figured out, guys. Genuinely. And that's why I want to do it in this formula, because I can get the printing cheap, and I can charge like $15 for it, get a lot of content in there, make people feel like it's really worth it. I think it's really worth it. Like, I genuinely think getting a story that's like 100 to 200 pages for $15, that's more than worth it. That's perfect. Man. And then making it a series also. Great stuff. Mine is going to be a little bit different in the terms of how I'm going to be handling each book, because I want each book to be like a mini arc within a much bigger story arc. Whereas a lot of manga out there, it's kind of more like, it's kind of more like focused on longer arcs. Like, you don't typically finish a mini arc within one book. Maybe you'll finish a mini arc within like 3 books, right? Because they're volumes. They're like collections of multiple chapters. Like, if you look at Frieren, for example. Let me see here. Yes. This was the Demon arc. Very good. Very good arc. I don't actually know what it's called. What is this Demon arc called? It's called something like, it's going based on, like, whatever kingdom they visited. Okay, so it ends... Yes. This was the last chapter that ended on chapter 23. That's where that arc ends, and this is volume 3. And like, look at the other second half of it. This is just starting some other arc now, right? And then volume 2 is where that arc started. So it kind of ends in like janky areas, you know? You don't buy one book and then get the complete mini arc. Even though it's a mini arc, and it could be potentially put into one book, but that's not what they did. They didn't space it out that way. Let me put it back. Oh, God. Oh, I'm bending over awkwardly. I did it. Okay. But yes, so that's the main difference that I want to do for my books, is I want to make each book complete the mini arc. And as you can already tell, like, each book has a subtitle, and the subtitle is going to be the name of that arc. So book 1, The Cursed Castle, it's focusing on him going to this castle and doing that specific mission, which leads to a much bigger story that kicks off the series. Whew. Oh my goodness, the hour is up, isn't it? That explains why my throat is so dry. I've been talking for a while here. Talking about really fun things, though. Oh yeah, could have Oliver from It's Not Like Getting a Job Will Kill You dressed up as Jason Voorhees. You probably tell, but I don't know who that is, but I like your enthusiasm. As a joke, yeah. Oh, yeah. Very fun. I'm really glad so many people have given me such good feedback on that. You know, I was surprised hearing back. There was this one poll I did a while ago on the channel, I believe, like actually on YouTube in the community post. I did a poll, and I was like, okay, so far, what has been your favorite comic on that I've done on Burning Star Comics? That one did it. That one won. Everyone said they loved It's Not Like Getting a Job Will Kill You. That was number 1. And I was like, oh man, that was Because I think Horizon Quest was also out at the time when I did that poll, and I was expecting people to say that one. It was the most recent one at the time anyways. And, you know, it's like a fun high fantasy thing. But yeah, it's not like getting a job will kill you. The dark horse of Burning Star Comics. Oh man. It would be difficult to name a sequel to that because the title of the comic is the hook. It's part of the reason why I actually like the title. Some people might not like the title because it's too long. I get it. But part of the reason why I like the title is because of how it interacts with the rest of the cover. The joke being, of course, it's not like getting a job will kill you, but then they're all pointing guns at him and he's crying. It's the best part. That's why I like it. It's because it is a joke on the cover itself. And it lets you know immediately, like, oh, this is a comedy. There's a joke. It's a visual joke. It's good. It's very simple, but it works. I like it. Yay! But yeah, it'd be hard to name a sequel because I would want the sequel to be focused on something different, continuing the story of him having this job. So I could name it the same thing, but I would want it to be, it wouldn't have the same impact that this cover has. So, you know. Let's see. It's not like getting a career will kill you. Right. Well, I was thinking for a sequel, it would focus on him having the kid, right? Because that's kind of the spark that ignites all of the events of the first comic, is that they want to have a kid together. And then I thought it'd be like really sweet to open up the second comic with them. They have the baby, right? And they're taking care of it. But he still has to, on the side, work on these mafia type of jobs here. So I was thinking, should I spin the title to be focused on the fact that he has the kid now? Like, it's not like having a kid will kill you. Yeah, yes. See, like something like that. I don't know if that like rings as funny as the first title did, but it's something. It is a possibility. Yeah, it's not like X will kill you series. It seems like it. Yeah, so that's probably where I'm gonna go with it. When it gets a sequel. Honestly, I do want to do a sequel. It's not that I don't want to do it, but I do question how much time I have to do a sequel. I also want to do a sequel to Horizon Quest. That is more dependent on Adam because he is the writer. So go bother him about it. I told him I'm all up for doing a sequel. It's all about like when he's ready to write it or when he passes something off to me. You know, we're still kind of bouncing off ideas of something that we could do for a Horizon Quest sequel. We just don't got anything yet. We don't have anything solidified. We have a couple funny gags that we could do with the characters, but yes, no script. Kind of the same with It's Not Like Getting a Job Will Kill You. I got like some ideas of funny gags, but no script. Nothing concrete, you know? But yeah. And it's hard to focus on doing a sequel to that while I'm also trying to focus most of my energy on this. I'm working on book 2 for this. I've been working on it for a while now. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's one of those casualties that got hit when my hard drive died last year. That wasn't fun. That definitely wasn't fun. But yeah, so my original draft for book 2 for this series, gone. Granted, it wasn't finished. Even that draft wasn't finished, but still work need to be redone. And I like the new draft that I've been working on for book 2 a lot better. A lot better. But it's, you know, it's hard to find time to sit down and work on it. It's hard to find quiet time. And that's really something that you need as a writer. You need quiet. I like to put on some music while I work sometimes. Most times, maybe. But for the most part, I just really need no talking. I really do. It distracts me so much. Funny enough, the music doesn't distract me, though. It's like using a different part of your brain. I don't really have an explanation for it. But yes, I enjoy sitting down and I enjoy writing. I just need the quiet time, and unfortunately, like, these style of books, they take more time to do the draft. And that's just how it goes, you know? But I theorize book 2 is probably gonna be longer than this. This was about 108 pages. I think book 2 will be about 180. If I'm guessing correctly. Like I said, there is no draft yet. It's like 1 or 2/4 of a draft right now. 2/4 is 1/2. I'm an idiot. 2/5. 2/5. 1 or 2/5 of a draft that I have right now. So it's not really near finished. But I know what I want to do with it. It's just a matter of putting it on the page. Yeah, very ambitious, right? Yeah. I don't think it'll be too bad. I think I could probably reach the goal of doing, like, inking 1 page a day. It's just a matter of getting the drafts done first. That is... because that's what's taking up the most brain power. Art, I can listen to people talk in different, you know, I can't listen to people talk and write. I'll start typing what they're saying. It doesn't, wires are crossed in the wrong directions, you know? But yes, absolutely, a lot of comic plans in the future. Very ambitious stuff. I'd like to be able to do 2 books in a year. It's probably not going to happen, but I'd like to at least push myself to getting it close to happening. That's not like Getting in Trouble, Kill You, Red Sun. The one where Oliver ran into a guy with a similar problem, except he's in the Yakuza. Yeah, there you go. The epic crossover event. Yeah. I know the feeling. Having good music on in the background so you can concentrate is a very good idea. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes just to drown out everybody else. And people recommend headphones. I don't have the best experience with headphones. Can't speak for everybody. It works for some people. Headphones for me gives me headaches. Gives me some pretty bad headaches, which makes me not want to work at all. But on paper, it's a good idea. On paper, you know, you plug them in and then you drown everybody else out. It's just not working in reality for me, unfortunately. But anyway, 1:10 now as far as recording time for this. So I think it's about time for me to say goodnight to everybody. Maybe gaming stream, not sure. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Last time we did a gaming stream, we were playing Sonic Adventure 2. I was very tired, but I still did it. I still played the game, and that's what's important. And lastly, let me just say, we have 15 hours to go on the Sonic City Witch Kickstarter campaign. So we're closing this out. You can still get the comic from Kickstarter if you prefer to get it from there. This will be your last chance to do so. And if you'd rather get the comic from burningstarcomics.net instead, by all means, go ahead and do it. Do it! This will close out at the end of October. So there is a bigger window to get in on this deal. Just, keep in mind that it's not gonna be that way forever. So jump on it while you have the chance. Secure your copy. I'll have those sent out by the end of this year. Hopefully not all the way at the end of this year. Hopefully before December, because I know that Christmas is very crazy. But yes, I will get done it. I know. I have the power within me. Perhaps too much power for this mortal realm. So, thank you, everybody, for joining me on another fantastic Friday with Dannphan. I'll be updating you as I have more news on all this comic stuff we're coming out with. And good night, everybody. I'll see you next time. More videos, more reviews coming out, of course, as I mentioned before. More Avengers Academy. Oh boy, the next chapter is Anyway, good night, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.